Funding for American Prairie has been provided by Bob Ridings Ford, Taylorville, Illinois. Sloan Implement, Verdon, Illinois. Brandt Consolidated, Waverly, Illinois. And from our patrons at patreon.com, who are viewers like you. Thank you.
American Prairie visits the granddaddy of them all, the Midwest Old Threshers Reunion in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Located along the Avenue of the Saints Expressway, Mount Pleasant, Iowa is 51 miles south of Iowa City, Iowa, 213 miles north of St. Louis, Missouri, and 271 miles southwest of Chicago, Illinois. See Occupations of the Past on Part 3 of the Midwest Old Threshers Reunion from Mount Pleasant, Iowa, coming up on American Prairie. The Midwest Old Threshers Reunion starts on a Thursday before Labor Day weekend and ends on Labor Day.
This here is a Hillman's engine, and it's built approximately 1900, give or take a few years, as close as we've been able to figure out. With a 9-horse motor side, they run a steel cable up to the carousel that turns the carousel, which was made approximately the same time as far as we can figure.
Wow, that carousel's that old.
Yeah, the carousel
itself.
There are 6 carousels that we know of that are still run by steam. The majority of them have been changed over to electrified, so, but there's 24 horses on this carousel. Back in the age that it was built, this engine runs 120 pounds of pressure. Of course, we have safety valves on it. The firebox is down at the bottom. Water's in the middle with steam on top. Valves around here that operate it. We have 2 injectors to inject water into the machine. Of course, the whistle will blow. When we get a load on the carousel, they ring a bell, which gives us the okay to go ahead and operate it as a safety. We'll start it up, run it for 3 minutes most generally. If the crowd's real bad, we'll, of course, slow it down or speed it up a little. So there's 24 horses, 2 carriages.
What exactly, do you know what kind of power this engine can produce to create this, the steam engine? It's
they say it's approximately a 9 to 10 horse
9
engine.
to 10 horse, you
Yeah.
said. Okay.
Like I say, it's got 120 pounds of pressure on it right now. He just opened the valve, so it's running. We can't hear the engine run. It's quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't always in this facility. This
No,
is in...
up until early 70s, the gentleman lived here and ran the carousel in this territory. And it was here at the Old Threshers until he passed away. His wife took it home. They put it in a barn and stored it for several years until a gentleman from St. Paul was working on an organ in St. Louis and trying to find this stuff. He finally located it, purchased it, sold it to another gentleman who restored it.
Sure.
And in '94, he offered to sell it back to us, which we bought it. For 6 years, we set it up outside, which is a 2.5 day affair, setting it up. Run it 5 days, another 2.5 days to tear it back down.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. Takes a big crew.
The kids love it.
Oh, they
sure.
do. In 2000, we put up the building, moved it inside. It stays up year-round. So now in the springtime, they have school tours around here. So we'll run it for school tours, 4th of July.
Wow.
Of course,
So you get a lot of special occasions.
Special. And in October, we have haunted rails, they call it down here, where everything is decorated up for Halloween on Friday and Saturday nights in October. We run it then, so.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't believe that, you know, it's a little over 100 years old.
Yeah, it's over 100.
And it's still running. So Mr. Watkins, how long has this machine been operating?
Since 1922.
1922.
It was installed in Marshalltown, Iowa in 1922.
Wow.
Worked in Marshalltown, Iowa till 1972. Midwest Old Threshers went up there and brought it down here in 1973. It's been in the museum here since 1973.
Wow. 1973. It's been here.
Been here in this museum. They brought it down. They went up there and measured the foundation up, come down and poured the foundation, had the foundation poured. There's 140 cubic yards of concrete in the foundation. Had the foundation poured. They went up there and disassembled the engine. The Coonrod Company had some cranes that went up there that loaded this on 8 semi-trucks, brought it down here. They put it together, and it ran down here in 1973.
Wow. Yeah, that had to be quite a big operation moving this thing.
It was a big operation, yes it was.
Now, this can run. You know what kind of pressure's coming out of here and what kind of power this thing creates?
Well, this engine, we're not doing anything with the engine now other than turning it over so you can see the steam mechanism work. This engine pumped water for the city of Marshalltown, Iowa. It would pump up to a maximum of 6 3/4 million gallons of water a day. Pumped 118 gallons every revolution of the crank. Every crank
118 gallons?
Pumped 118 gallons for
every revolution. Wow.
Maximum speed on the engine was 36 revolutions a minute. Minimum speed was 7 or 8 revolutions a minute. The governor on this engine actually sensed the city water pressure in the town of Marshalltown, and the engine would speed up and slow down according to the city water pressure.
Wow, that is impressive.
Very, very neat for 1922, I think.
Oh, most
You know?
definitely. For the times back then, to have this technology running the pressure for the entire city.
That's correct. This would pump up to 150 pounds of pressure in the water into the pump.
Now, how big was Marshalltown?
I don't know. I'm from Ohio. I just come out here to run this steam engine. So
No,
I
that's
don't
all right.
know.
But that's not too far from here. Marshalltown?
Marshalltown is not too far from here. I've been there where the factory, where the pump was located at originally, and talked to the people in the water department. But I'm a licensed engineer in Ohio, and I come out here to run this steam engine, or help run this steam engine every year for them.
So was this designed around here as well, or do you know who?
It's an Alice Chalmers steam engine, and I don't know which Alice Chalmers factory in Milwaukee or wherever the thing was made in. Probably Milwaukee, I don't know. It's an Alice Chalmers engine.
From 1922.
1922.
That is impressive. Well, we really appreciate your time with us today. Thanks for sharing all that information.
Well, thank you for stopping by.
All right, you have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, this school, it was called West Pleasant Lawn, and it was located around a mile west of Mount Pleasant. In 1959, a lot of these country schools were closed, and they either fell into disrepair, they were sold and used for houses or storing corn. And one of the women that went to this school just could not see this school not be a school. And so she made arrangements for this school to be moved here to Old Threshers. Old Threshers, I believe the year of its origination was 1951. So in 1959, this school, as it sits here, was moved to Old Threshers.
Wow. So it looks good. Like this is all a lot of the original, all the original insides of that school, basically.
Yes, I think so. I'm not, completely sure which things have had to be moved in here, but these are all typical, and these are all typical of the country schools of the day.
From back in, you say, the 50s?
Well,
or even earlier.
This school was originated and built in 1867.
Whoa, so back in the 1860s is what we're talking.
Right.
Wow.
Now, of course, there probably been some things that have been replaced over time, just because of, wear. But this is the original building.
Sure. Wow. Wow, they moved the whole building.
Wow. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, it's the older it gets, the more worthwhile it seems.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So the 1860s, huh?
Yes, right.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for all that information.
You bet.
Yeah, appreciate that. So what was, there was something unlevel about it, or what'd you have to do?
Yeah, these illustrations that we have made, like this one here in particular of the steam engine, they're mounted on wood block, and they're made by an engraving company, and sometimes we need to build them up a little more so that they'll print clearer.
So all the fine details show up.
Yeah.
So you just put more ink.
Well, I'm actually putting some paper behind them to raise them up so that they'll hit the ink roller as well as the impression cylinder.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's just fix some things that had to make some corrections, and this is a press proof, so that gives us an idea what it'll look like off of the press.
How are these manufactured? The actual,
the lines of type?
Yeah. That's all in reverse, right?
Yeah, it's reverse, and these are lines cast on a linotype machine, or an intertype machine, and so we set these stories and this type throughout the rest of the year. The newspaper here is just filled with pretty much folksy material and pertaining to ag and threshing, and Old Threshers supplies us with a lot of copy for it, and so we work on that throughout the year.
That's cool. I mean, it looks like that would take a lot of time on a linotype machine, and if you make a mistake, you got to start all the way over? Is that how it works?
No, you can, if you make a mistake in just one line, you can just reset the one line,
Oh, wow.
and then, yeah.
So all those are individual.
Yeah, these are all
So that's what linotype,
Yeah,
that's how it works.
how it got its name.
Wow. Interesting.
So,
Didn't know that. So that, when was that invented? You know that?
the linotype was invented about 1886, I believe.
1886. Around then, and then it went till what year?
About 1975.
Even up to 1975, people were using it.
Even some, even a lot of usage up until 1980.
Wow. I see you're still using it today.
Yeah. Take a couple sheets of this and put behind this engraving just to bring it up a little higher. This is a simple process too, so it doesn't take very long.
Wow, so sometimes you just need very fine changes in height.
Yeah.
And that little bit will do all the difference.
Yeah. And let's see, I got one for this one.
Then this car and 11 other open cars like it came to various museums in North America. We've got 2 of them here at Midwest Electric. This car and the yellow open car, they're really twin sisters, but they've been rebuilt so much over the years they don't look quite alike. Altogether we have 6 trolley cars, passenger carriage cars, including the last street car that operated in the state of Iowa, that operated between Waterloo and Cedar Falls, operated until 1958. Then it was retired, went to a city park in Waterloo, was vandalized and flooded, and eventually came here. We also have a big, heavy interurban car that ran between Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin, Illinois. That car was capable of speeds up to 80 miles an hour. We don't quite run that fast these days. It's a car that we rebuilt over an 8-year period, and it looks as pristine as it did when it was built. We have a car that came from Milan, Italy, also a streetcar, an interurban car that ran between Centerville and Albion, Iowa. We run on 600 volts DC. It's a complete electrical system. Overhead feed, ground in the rails. You were tall enough to put your finger on the overhead wire, put 1 foot on the rail, and you would run fast too.
So this is a woodworking shop.
Yeah, this is actually, of course, part of the log village out here, which is actually a Boy Scout coeducational learning project for kids. And we probably have 75 to 100 kids that take part in the activities out here. And what happens is we come out during the show and show the different skills from 1846. And one of those is, of course, a wood shop.
Sure.
And this building was actually built in 2003. And we have probably 6 or 7 woodworkers that come in throughout the show.
Wow.
And demonstrate.
So you're one of those woodworkers, obviously.
Yeah.
What are you making today?
Right now I'm finishing a top for a shaker style stand. It's a walnut. It's made out of walnut. I made the base to it down there, the tapered legs and the mortise and tenon joints.
I see that.
And now we're working on finishing the top. It's made out of a local native hardwood walnut. And we use, of course, the techniques, all techniques, hand tools of the 1840 to 1850 period.
Wow.
And
so it's built better than today's.
oh, we like to think so. Yeah.
You put your blood and sweat into the work.
Yeah, you bet. It's very rewarding when you get done. So.
No doubt. It's like wood pens?
Yes, is that actually a mortise and tenon joint where we have one piece here. Of course, I made the legs first. I tapered them so you can see that they're smaller at the bottom than they are at the top here. But in the piece that goes across here, we cut what's called tenon. So again, it's just a small piece of wood. And what happens is we make a mortise. I did that in the legs. And then in order to put them together, I also had some dowels. Here, made the dowels from walnut, and then just that gives it more support.
So you have nails as well?
No,
as dowels?
no,
Or what,
no nails.
How is that held together? I'm a little confused. It's just literally you carve that like a puzzle piece, so it just slides on?
Yep,
and that's
exactly. And if you make a nice tight joint.
So that with the dowels is all that's holding it?
Yes, exactly.
And it keeps it very sturdy?
I do put a little glue in it, just
Sure. Wow, that's impressive.
But yeah, it's we try to make
that
things
piece
best.
is pretty hard to make there.
Yeah, it just takes a little while, and
because you got to get it perfectly lined up and.
Yeah, exactly. And you see a lot of the toolboxes out here, like that large one over there. It has dovetail joints. If you look at the joints, it's a very strong joint.
Sure.
Because it comes out in what looks like a dovetail or a bird's tail. And then it has to fit exactly into the piece that you have to cut.
Yeah. Now, what are you making over here in the wood shop today?
I am making this cabinet. So right now, what I've been working on this morning is actually the doors. So these are the rails and stiles for the doors that will fit in here. And this afternoon, I'm going to work on putting in a panel and then fitting them into the cabinet.
Wow. So a panel for the front?
Yes.
Of the door? Mm-hmm. I see. And then of course you'll have some knobs on there.
Yeah.
Are those going to be made of wood as well? Or
most likely brass.
Brass? Yeah, make it a nice clean finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure. So what color are you thinking about staining that?
Actually, what I'm going to do is going to do milk paint. I'm going to do the inside a lighter blue and the outside a darker blue.
I see. Milk paint.
Milk paint.
What's the difference there? Compared to like a stain or whatnot?
Milk paint, it's a paint, reasonably durable, but the actual basis is the casein, which is a protein out of milk.
Wow.
As far as the binder.
Really? Mm-hmm. Hence the name milk paint.
Yes. So it is a traditional finish in a certain way.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Well, maybe we'll see it when it's done, if possible. But anyhow, we appreciate your time, Eric.
No problem.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
On the next American Prairie.
Join us for the conclusion of the Midwest Old Threshers Reunion from Mount Pleasant, Iowa on the next American Prairie.
Funding for American Prairie has been provided by Bob Ridings Ford, Taylorville, Illinois. Sloan Implement, Verdon, Illinois. Brandt Consolidated, Waverly, Illinois. And from our patrons at patreon.com, who are viewers like you. Thank you.